Hello, my name is Cobi Williams, host of Palmetto Happens with Cobi, a show all about economic development, workforce development, commercial real estate, and tourism within the great state of South Carolina. Today, I am here with Mr. Avery Moore, principal of Palm Charter High School. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm great.
Well, tell us about yourself. This is we're here in the showroom for your high school, but tell us about yourself. Tell us about Palm.
Well, number one, Palm's not your typical high school.
Mm-hmm.
We're like every other high school, and what happens at high school for a student to get a high school diploma, but we're like the most unique high school at the same time because of the things that happen on our campus, the exposure that we give our students. So in terms of high school, we're very different. I come from a different background as well. My first 4 years was in the field of criminal justice. So I have a degree in criminology, and I worked in that field. And as a young kid, I got my street cred and got my stripes, and then got into education after that experience. So now I've been in education now for 22 years and worked in 3 different states and 5 different school districts. So I got quite a bit of exposure to a lot of different things in education. So I wanted to be a part of something very different and unique and put my my fingerprints on something and allow it to grow. And so that's why I chose Palm.
Well, tell us about Palm.
Well, Palm is an acronym for Palmetto Academy for Learning Motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
So Palm Charter High School. And we're way more than just a motorsports high school. That's what people are like, is that all you do? The motorsports aspect is that as a charter school, you have to offer something very unique and something different. Otherwise, there's no reason for you to start the charter school. Mm-hmm. So a charter is like a specific course that you would take, and your kids are on a specific course that no one else is on. Mm-hmm. So the motorsports aspect is that we're the only high school in the nation that has an actual high school motorsports curriculum. Mm-hmm. And so we're able to teach that. Students get credit for that. They get exposure to motorsports. But we have welding, we have auto collision technology, we have marketing, digital arts. So all of those things that students can get exposed to and find out how much of that they like that. All those skill sets are transferable. And at the same time, they're getting all their academics, math, science, social studies, and English. Yeah. We got kids that are dual enrolled, starting college classes. We got students who work full-time as seniors. So really it's about that kid getting adult things early in life and finding out what they like early rather than waiting until they're 42 with 3 kids to find out what they want to do. We're letting them do it when they're 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, and they start when they're in the 9th grade year, right?
That's right. We begin to expose them, and sometimes it's the summer camp that we do over the summer that they'll get that exposure and they fall in love with us, so they come over here as a 9th grader. And as soon as they hit the campus as a 9th grader, they start to feel it. They don't want to leave sometimes. They can't wait, to come back, because there's just a climate here and there's a magic here that they know that they're going to get something that they've never even heard of before, and there's something that it always draws them in.
Yeah, and they're working on these cool cars like the ones behind us, right?
Yeah, I mean, the showroom is really just a piece, when people walk in, to kind of highlight a few things that we're about. So you got a racing simulator over there that was actually built by one of our former students. We got the number 3 car that's coming into fruition here. Over in motorsports, we got about 7 different classes of cars and that sort of thing. So the school is full of things that you typically wouldn't find on any high school campus, but they're useful. I mean, it's fun to look at a fast car that looks good. Yeah. But there's a lot that goes into that race car that you can actually teach from. That student then says, all right, now I got a skill set, maybe not working on race cars, but now I got a skill set to know how to work with equipment and tools. Or maybe I know how to do fractions now. That takes them to their next level in their career.
Career and employment and income and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's tied all in together.
Absolutely.
And fulfillment. They know that they are doing what they're designed to do and they're good at it.
Yeah, and there's a way forward for them
That's right.
in life and for them their families. Usually I talk about this later in the show, but I think it's important to talk about this now. Collaboration, that's a big part of my show, and working together to really highlight our Palmetto State or the region, the Waccamaw region specific. That's where we're in right now. What kind of partnerships does Palm have to really make you guys fully impactful in the region?
Well, we really believe, when I first got hired here and I took over the school, I knew I needed to get the school where I needed it first. So my first year was really concentrated on creating the climate, then creating the culture, and creating an organization that I then could take the school where I needed to. And at the same time, I was beginning to get a feel for the region and for the county and what's here. And one of the first partnerships I initiated was with Mark Lazarus. Mark Lazarus is a civic leader here. He was on the county council. And I got connected to Mark. Mark was my first official partnership and sponsorship, and he's been with us ever since and does a variety of things. That then led into Ori Georgetown Tech, and I became good friends with Dr. Murph, and that partnership is phenomenal. I mean, she does a lot for us, and I can't say enough about her. And then we've gone into areas like the digital arts and graphics partnerships, or like Native Sons or Seaboard Signs.
Yeah.
There's tons of collision centers that we have with Beach Ford or Sparks Toyota. All those different things that we have are partnerships that people know what we're about. We can give them students to get some shadowing done, get maybe an apprenticeship done, or even work full time. And all that's doing is giving that kid the exact skill set that they're going to need. They stay in Horry County as a skilled worker, and then they're giving back because they stay here with a skill set to offer the county.
Retaining talent.
Exactly right. We don't have enough in South Carolina. We need to keep what we have, and get more and more talent, because of the upcoming jobs that's coming down the pipe.
I mean, and what we have already here too. I mean, that's important.
You don't want to lose them. That's exactly right.
We don't want to lose this talent that we have here, and we're creating talent too, like y'all.
Right. And and we're a smaller school, but we're having an impact on the model. And the model that we use is impactful, because it's really you don't need a high school campus that has 2,500 students on there. There's not a lot of value into individualizing what you're doing. But at a school of 200 or 400 or even 800, you can do a lot.
Yeah, okay? Personalized education.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So, education needs to kind of look back at saying, hey, it might cost us a little bit of money on the end, but if we need to personalize this or individualize something more of our kids rather than sending them through an assembly line approach, then that's what labor is going to need. That's what the economy is going to need. That's what we're going to need in the future for everyone.
100%. What kind of what are some recent news that you guys have with Palmetto with Palm?
Well, I mean, we're constantly out in the community doing a variety of things, and so. We have a number of our students that go ahead and get into Ori Georgetown Tech and start taking what we call dual enrollment classes. They're over there now taking classes. They're still taking classes here. Maybe they get a full-time job, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag quite yet. But I will tell you this: we have a possible partnership coming down with an international global company. They're based in Charleston. They start with a B and end with a G. Boeing. So they're interested in the things that we're doing on our campus with our students. And so I'm not saying anything will happen, but I will tell you this: they're going to be visiting our campus here pretty soon. And so anytime that you can begin to shake hands with that kind of company, that's kind of a validation of the things that you're doing with your students.
Yes, and I mean the company that starts with the B, they're doing a great job when it comes to outreach and to these every single community, and I love that. So that's huge, guys.
Yeah, it is huge.
that would be really cool. So like how many people? This past spring, and we were in the fastest growing region in the country, really. How many students graduated from this school in the spring?
So if you look at, we only have 200 students total. All right, that's our total enrollment. And you look at it, kind of like 50, 50, 50, and 50. Like 50 ninth graders, 50. I mean, that's kind of like if you were to balance it out. So on average, let's say we're always going to have about 50 students that they're going to graduate. For the past 2 years, we've graduated every senior on our campus. If you're a senior on our campus, you're going to graduate. We will hound you. We will find you. We will eat lunch with you on Sunday. We do a number of things to support you and the family to make sure that you graduate. Second thing is that we have a large number of students that are already full-time employed,
That's key.
Or they're already taking classes at Ori Georgetown Tech.
That is either of those are key. I mean,
and that's exactly right. So we put a lot of time between 9th, 10th, and 11th, so that their senior year, they know what they're doing.
By the time they're 18, they have a trade or they have the opportunity.
And they're confident. And they're confident that that's what they want to do.
That's confident. They're professionals, the whole nine. I love it. Well, what are your thoughts on this? The opportunities that are going to result in the growth of this region for the school. Like, how do you see that playing into the operations here at Palm?
Well, us as a small school, we can only have a certain amount of impact. Okay, but I will tell you this: that we believe that we are creating a model that the area schools should look at and say, hey, what are you guys doing? And it starts with climate and culture. Okay, I don't care how good you are at your skill set. I don't care how smart you are. if you don't know how to go and get a job and keep a job and know how to communicate with your boss and be a team leader, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to keep your job. So that's a key element. That development piece is a big spoke of what we do here. And so I would say that we're going to do our part. Who's not to say that somewhere close around there's another charter that starts up and uses our same model, just with a different industry, and that begins to produce more students that's necessary, you know, in the long run.
Yeah.
But you know better than anybody else. Columbia, the Midlands, Greenville area, they've got plants left and right coming in. The manufacturing is just really going to end up exploding. It's already exploding, but it's going to be 10 times that in the next 10 years. So I think there needs to be a real focus on getting that third grader, that eighth grader turned on to these skill sets so that when they get into high school, they've already got to kind of figure it out a little bit. 100%.
100%. You talk about what's going on in the rest of the state. I mean, also, I don't think you guys are going to have a whole lot of competition because it's so nice in this space. It's a good space to invite for the idea for education and learning. So, I mean, you guys got to.
And the fact that you're doing your podcast right here in the showroom in the middle of school. Not anywhere where you can see everything that's happening. You can see what we're doing.
I mean, you can see, I don't know if y'all can see the window over here, but you can even see what these guys are doing in here.
That's exactly right. So that lets you know the climate and the culture that we have. All right.
It's collaborative.
Right. Well, and students are adults. They handle themselves in such a way that we're able to do the things that we're doing right here in our showroom. That's a big piece. You got to develop a 14-year-old. You got to develop a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. Right. It's not going to do itself. Right. So that's like, again, that's what we enjoy mostly, is having that element of what we do on the campuses to give these kids an extra advantage once they get out in the real world.
So what are your thoughts on the strengths of this region, the Waccamaw region? Yeah, that's what I like to talk about a lot on the show, because you get a better flavor. You get Horry County, Georgetown County, and Williamsburg County. What are the strengths of this region that really help you promote the school?
Well, you know, I've been here. This is going on my 8th year here. Okay, and so I moved here from Louisiana, and they have their own regional
Tigers.
strength. But they're in the Mississippi Delta basically, and there's sugarcane land and all over. Here, you really have 2 or 3 different worlds. I mean, you got the beach life, you got tourism, the service arena. And then you get into the rural areas, it's more agricultural based, right? And it will stay like that for probably forever. And then you got your river sections, you got your other little small industries that are coming in. So you really got kind of a complex system that's kind of interwoven. But let me tell you this, I believe that the future of this county in the area, the PD region, is only going to just get 10 times better, okay? But let me tell you what needs to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, your road systems, okay? You've got to do something in which that your infrastructure in terms of 31 and 22 is great, but 501 and some stagnation with some of those areas makes it difficult. And so I think that there needs to be a little bit more planning on the infrastructure when it comes to road systems, because you know what we're going, you know the population growth, right? It's still going to come. Well, you got to plan for that. And you don't want a company not to want to expand in the region or come to the region based on the fact that it's going to cost them more money just to actually move around their products or whatever it may be.
100%. The infrastructure is highly important.
That's right.
In my mind, I don't necessarily talk about on the show, but this is, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a big part of our issues. I don't like to talk about, I follow a SWOT analysis format on the show, but weaknesses, infrastructure, and that's.
Well, and the thing that the beach will always be there, and we do a good job at bringing people here for the beach and everything that comes along with that, okay? But what I always say is, that there's people that want to stay here, they're not connected to the beach at all. What are you doing for those populations that want to stay here and want to thrive and want to work and want to have careers? You know, you want to do things that allow for plants and those careers to come in here as well.
And that's why I like the schools like this, is that you guys are a collaborative environment. You're bringing in the folks from the beach, folks from the rural South Carolina, from the the underserved communities, everything, and as an opportunity for that, and then showing them the ways to get a job here.
That's right.
And that's highly
At an early
important.
age.
At an early age, right? Right at
yeah.
18 years old. By 18 years old, you're certified in your school, in your trade, and you can have a good career and a good life. I
That's
like
right.
that.
Fulfilling.
Yeah, and you understand the issues, and that there's these walls that are put up into these different communities,
That's right.
and this programs like this break down those walls.
That's exactly right. And get them confident.
Get them confidence and the environment. Well, what kind of opportunities in this region that you see that are not currently being realized, that if so would fully help you reach the full potential of this program?
Well, our programs are always going to adapt. Our programs are always going to, basically, from year to year. I mean, when you run a smaller school, you can turn that ship around pretty easily and adapt. You know, if I was running a school that was 3,500, then it takes us a little time to adapt to situations that might be happening. I would say this, that the only concern that we will have is that if people start to see that there's better places to live or to gravitate to than others, rather than it being population growth throughout. Our school, we have people from all over, but we don't have a busing system. So we have to have people to drive here. So we really want people to have the ability to come from all over the county, but we want there to be about a 10-mile radius where the people continue to grow and move there, so that we will continue to have a population that's closer to the school. So in the reality, that's the only thing that we have a little bit of concerns about. But other than that, our future is quite bright.
100%.
Now, I can't say exactly will I be the principal here in the next 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
But I hope you are.
I'm confident that we will have a type of individual that comes in as a principal that will continue to do what I'm doing. That will end up having that kind of staff that's high caliber that continues what they're doing. But I can tell you this: I have to pinch myself all the time, because to have the kind of job I have right now, God's blessed me with something that I do really well. I enjoy it. It's different. So I'm in heaven every day when I come to work.
Listen, you're. I mean, from when I met you a little bit ago, you're a connector. You're getting out in the community, you're understanding what's going on out there.
You know where I got that from? I had a father when I was that 4 or 5 years old. He was a minister. He was a missionary. He wasn't afraid of anybody. He would go out there and shake hands, talk to people,
just
wherever
say hi.
It wasn't anywhere that he didn't go that he didn't have the confidence to go and shake a hand, smile, and say, "How you doing?" So I saw that all my life. So for me, it's just natural. When you're genuine, your honesty and integrity, you can just walk up and people start talking. But luckily my parents did it right for a long period of time when I was early, so I do have some gifts. I just want to use them for the right reasons.
You are. I mean, you're literally going out and not being afraid to shake the hands of anybody, and say hi to them, because you're breaking down those walls too, which is highly important. We touched on this earlier, the concept of the different industries that we have, the complex community that we live in, the region that we live. You have the coast, you have the inland, but kind of summarize it in the 4 T's of Horry County: timber, turpentine, tobacco, tourism. Part of this show is all about that, while incorporating the concept of honoring the past while looking to the future. What are your thoughts on that, and if any?
I can tell you this: you got to use the natural given assets that you've been given, and those are the things that are naturally here. Those are things that will be here. Those things built basically what we have today to an extent. And so I would say your natural resources, the river system, all right, the timber industry. You really got to start thinking long term, because Horry County is, geographically speaking, the largest county east of the Mississippi. That's a lot of acreage. That's a lot of space. So you really want to think of how you're able to use, in terms of timber, in terms of tobacco, all that from an agricultural standpoint.
Yeah, it's like the historical part of it. It was a big part of upbringing,
And you want to stay connected to that, but you want to go 21st century with it too.
100%.
And so, you've got to get, like over there or Georgetown Tech, get into, making it attractive for a 3rd or 4th or 5th grader to want to get into horticulture, that wants to get into agriculture, that wants to go into those worlds, because guess what? You, in 15, 18, 20 years, that's the kid that's going to be here that might have the knowledge to push the county where they need to be with those resources.
Exactly. Inspiring the youth.
That's exactly right.
I love that. we're almost done. I know
Okay.
these folks over there. Sorry. I'm not trying to take up too much of your time.
No, you're good.
Hold on. It's booyah. So what's your vision for the region for the next 10 years? I like your leadership. You know, you got an idea. What's your vision?
Well, I'll be honest with you. My vision for the school first is to continue to grow the school, continue to make the school a pivotal piece of Horry County, and make it a shining part of Myrtle Beach, Conway, Horry County, the PD region, that people know what we're doing, what we're about. That's where I'm going. Second piece is that the next chapters of my life will be taking this as the flagship program and as the template, and there's going to be others who are going to want it. I'll take it to them.
And you're doing that. You're doing that.
I'm doing that now. But I'll take a group that's got stakeholders that say, hey, we want a school here. I want a school here. I want a school here. I then will go and say, well, let me show you how to create it, found it, go ahead and get it organized and get you first 2 to 3 years, and then move that to another area. So somewhere down the road, my next chapters are going to be, I've created this, my fingerprints on this, my blueprints here. Now let's go ahead and take it statewide, even federal.
I love it. I love it. It is awesome. What are some upcoming events with Palm that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, the first thing is, we had a tragic loss on this past week, and Brody Gore was a phenomenal student that we had here. He was already at Georgetown Tech. He had declared welding. He had a welding scholarship that he'll start next year. That is tragic. So we are doing a number of things on our campus, related to try to help his family and help our students. Today we're about to do a designation of his parking lot outside where he parks and kind of do a celebration of him there. This Friday, October 6th, at the Rock Church in Conway, there's a celebration of his life. And so we're going to be out there doing a number of things to help the family. So right now, the only thing I really want to just say is that I don't want to talk about anything in the future. I mean, if you go to our webpage, you can find out a lot of things about what we're doing.
Absolutely.
But the important thing for me to say right now is that was a model kid for us. That was a kind of kid that we would say I would take anywhere in the world and say he is our student. And to have that student to be lost and have his family go through that kind of pain. That's where our heart is. That's what we're trying to do. With that family this week. So just keep that family in your prayers.
Absolutely, and I like the fact that you guys take care of your students. They're part of your family.
Exactly right.
That's good. I mean, that's part of the whole uniqueness.
It's a family.
It is.
It's a family.
I love that. I love that. But I appreciate you for joining the show today, sir.
I appreciate you coming out.
You're awesome. Thank y'all for listening to this episode of Palmetto Happens with Cobi. Follow us on LinkedIn and our YouTube page, and follow Palm Charters High School. And thank y'all for joining us.